Genesis 12:8. And he removed from thence unto a mountain on the east of Bethel, and pitched his tent, having Bethel on the west, and Ai on the east. And there he builded an altar unto the Lord, and called upon the name of the Lord. Wherever we go, wherever life leads us, we should be seeking to worship God because he always deserves our worship and praise. Okay, 1 Samuel 10:17 through 19. Samuel now called a meeting of all Israel at Mizpah. Now, this would have been something that not necessarily ordered as a requirement, but you wouldn't want to miss this. The prophets speaking and calling this meeting, that means God has a word from him. And if God has a word, you want to hear his word. So you don't want to miss this. You cancel plans, you rearrange things so you can be there and hear it. He gave them this message from the Lord God. I brought you from Egypt. I rescued you from the Egyptians. I saved you from all the nations that were bothering you. But I thought, though I have done so much for you, you have rejected me. You have said, we want a king instead. All right, then. Present yourselves before the Lord. Come by the tribes and clans. So, what is happening here? God reminds him of who he is and what he's done. Yes, it didn't personally impact his generation, but they were living in the fruits of what God had already done. Yeah, they hadn't conquered the entire place. Yeah, there was battles still to win, but they were no longer slaves in Egypt. And the battles still to win was because they weren't willing to trust God through them battles, going towards their rejection. The idea is God should have been enough. God should have been enough to lead his people, but they wanted a king. They wanted to be like everything else. And God's like, okay, here, take it. He's setting up that. Does that mean God compromised? No. It means God always willed it and always knew the people would want it and had a purpose for it. Ultimately, Christ being through the line of David was that purpose. I don't believe God made a mistake by choosing Saul either. There's a lesson for the people there and a lesson we can learn there.